Good morning, everyone. How you doing today? It is Thursday, October 1st, and we do our daily financial news a little bit early on Thursdays because we want to talk to Jonathan Twomley at 7:30 Pacific. It's very nice to get part of his day, and we need to do that at 10:30 his time. So every Thursday is the one day a week. We generally record these daily financial news early. Welcome. If I missed you because you're waiting for 7:30, I'm sorry, I will be talking with Jonathan at that point. Well, Q3 is over. We have started Q4, right? October 1st, start of Q4. Couple of things to think about. I believe what we are about to see is a lot of economic numbers that are kind of the best ever. I believe we are going to see a GDP growth reported for Q3 that we have never seen before. Just remember that this positive number is on the back of a Q2 which was a negative number that we would never see before. We are seeing green shoots across various parts of the economy, but I believe, and I think I've been pretty consistent, that we have some more pain ahead. So again, as we get into the news that I got for you today, remember, hit those thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you want to get a little piece, 10-minute piece of your daily financial news every day. Hit subscribe, hit notifications. 6 days a week, it'll be about 7:30, and then Thursdays about 7. So what do we got for you today? First and foremost, right before I came up, we got construction spending for September. It was up 1.4%. Again, this was a little bit more than expected. Expected was actually basically 0.8, so it was a little higher than expected. But the PMI number came in a little light. It was 54 on an expectation of 56.5. Really, the problem inside that number was new orders, right? New orders are important. There's been talk that companies will be issuing new orders to restock shelves, and that was a little disappointing. It just came out at 7, so I haven't had a chance to digest it yet. There may be something else in there. It is Thursday. Means we got to talk about unemployment claims. It ticked lower, went to 837 versus 850 last week. This is not okay. We are clearly putting in a floor, and the floor, remember, is higher than any peak week during the Great Recession. The Great Recession's worst week was 606. And, we're settling at 837 is a floor. And I am personally concerned that October is the month we go back up. Not only we've had big layoffs or furloughs at Disneyland, American, United, Dow, the list goes on, but I believe we're about to suffer some pain with some small businesses, restaurants, and the like. It is getting cold in more and more of the country, and restaurants can't make money at 25% capacity. So, it's concerning. And I really hope I'm wrong. Believe me when I say I hope I'm wrong. But I think we're going to bounce off this 837 or this 800 floor. And we could have another 7-figure week in front of us here in October, which would be frightening. Other things that I noticed, talked about it earlier or just now, American and United have begun furloughs. They're laying off 32,000 workers via furloughs. 32,000 furloughs sounds like a lot, and it's horrible if it's one of you or somebody you know. But remember, we just talked about 837,000 unemployment claims. So that's like 3 or 4% of 1 week. And we've been doing this now for seemingly 26 weeks. And then we're talking about giving the airlines $20 billion. $20 billion to save 32,000 jobs? Really? What is that, like $500 million a person? I don't know. That can't be right. But still, 50 million a person? It doesn't make any sense. If we want to help reduce unemployment, don't take 20 billion to save 32,000, right? Take the 20 billion, put it in PPP, get PPP a far more targeted to companies with less than 25, 40 people, maybe only in restaurants or only in gyms or only in hair salons, whatever. And let's really put the money where it's needed instead of these. I hate it, the big companies getting bigger. What airlines are telling us is we need less flights. Consumer behavior has changed. Business travel has changed. Consumers are preferring to drive versus fly to their Airbnbs at the beach or the mountains or wherever. Stop it. There needs less flights. Yes, flights will be more expensive in the future. So be it. We need less. The model has changed. I'm sorry. Nobody saw it coming. Yeah, I mean, I used to travel twice a week, sometimes 4 times a week. You think I'd be doing that today? No, there's no chance. I would lose my status. My million miles in the air would mean nothing. Yeah, there's no reason to give airlines another $20 billion. It's just, I don't get it. All right, I rail against that. Bed Bath & Beyond had a good number. They've already reported their earnings up 80%. Bed Bath & Beyond clearly did something different this quarter. My guess is they're focusing on the web channel or e-commerce. I can't remember the last time I was in Bed Bath & Beyond, but I can't remember the last time I was in a store that wasn't the grocery store. Kind of crazy. But again, good numbers. We are about to, we're going to know today, in my opinion, if a new stimulus deal is going to get done. It's going to go one of two routes. I believe the president and Mnuchin have upped their offer, which I think roughly started at 1.2. They've upped it to 1.6. They've taken their help for the states, which is a red line item, from 100 to 250, far less than the 750 Nancy and team want. They've taken unemployment up from 0 or 300, I think, 300 in the first to 400. Nancy wants 600. So we're going to see. My guess is we don't get a bill. My guess is Nancy wants $2 trillion. I don't think the Republican-led Senate goes that direction. And I think two people lose. I think the American people lose because we have 10%, 20% of our economy struggling because they've been told essentially not to work, or their employers have had to shut down. And that's real pain. And that real pain gets worse from here. And that will trickle up. You know, this is not trickle down. This will trickle up. And it's going to be a problem. And then I think the president is hurt by no stimulus. I think, what do we have, like 33 days left until the election? I think in general, you have more unemployed, more negative headlines in October. And I think that hurts any sitting president. This isn't about Trump. I think any sitting president in a relatively negative headlines for jobs is not a great time to have an election. On the good side, he is going to be able to point at some Q3 GDP numbers that are record-blowing or record-breaking. So I expect him to do that as well. So I don't know. We're going to know today. The other good thing is all these other YouTubers can stop doing stimulus videos because it's crazy. I saw that some of them are making like 500 grand a month on stimulus videos. It's crazy. Other things I caught today, Pepsi sales were up. Pepsi sales were up 5% roughly. Again, Pepsi and Coke are often talked about together, but they're not really the same. Pepsi has a pretty substantial snack business from their purchase of Frito-Lay back in the day. They earned $1.66 on an expectation of $1.49. $18 billion in snacks in Pepsi. Wow, that's a lot in a quarter. That's crazy. Starbucks came out and started, raised their dividends. They raised their dividend 10%. I think this is going to be a trend. I think we've seen in this health crisis, the big get bigger. And it's now the big get bigger or even going to get bigger. And they're going to do that by raising dividends. They're going to attract more float. And that's unfortunately the K economy, or the K economy for the win, right? The big get bigger and the small get crushed. August consumer spending was up 1%. That was after a nice jump in July at 1.5. My guess is September as it fell, and then October it will fall, and November it will fall, if no stimulus. So we will see that. Don't know if you saw this, but Goldman Sachs has joined the layoff, I don't know, trend. They're laying off roughly 1%, 1% of their workforce. Don't know if you saw this, but the Titans Steelers game is the first NFL game postponed due to COVID. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, right? The NBA has, knock on wood, completed the bubble, right? They're in the finals with no tests, positive tests in the bubble. It's got to be rough, though, right? Living 90 days, 100 days away from family. It's got to be rough. But the Titans Steelers game has been postponed. So far, they've been able to keep it just to the Titans, none of the Vikings, which were the team they competed with when this went down. But we'll see, right? Everybody cross their fingers, hope that the NFL can continue. But yeah, and we have no more further breakouts. And then the last thing I noted right before I came up is Wynn Resorts, big casino in Vegas. They are actually building a lab where they can test guests as they come in. As you enter their casino, they will take a swab. I'm guessing it's a swab. I guess it could be spit. And they will run it through their facility. And the idea is within a half hour, they'll know if you're positive or not. And then if you're not, you're let in. And if you are, you say, no, thank you. That is thinking ahead. Stop relying on other testing agencies. And if Wynn gets this down and they can really get that testing down to 5 to 10 minutes, man, the Wynn resorts could be rocking and rolling. So it will be interesting. And then if this model works, if Wynn does this, it'll be interesting to see if cruise lines and the like can do the same. Cruise lines are a little different. In my opinion, they'd have to have lots of mini labs, because do you just test them at the beginning of the journey? Do you test them when they come back from their daily tour? I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but this is what you have to do in this environment. The casinos in Vegas is struggling. Wynn Resorts is like, you know what? We will do something different. I don't know what it's going to cost. It's got to be 10, 20 million bucks to do that, but good for them. Thinking ahead, giving it a shot, and if they can make it work, they could really, make, Wynn Casino like it was before. So good for them thinking different. So at the end of the day, want to thank you again. It's Thursday. We started a little early. I am going to shut this down so we can talk to Jonathan here in 8 minutes. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.